8 minutes away from the start of NFL free agency. So once I get the big old thumbs up here from the bosses, we're going to go ahead and we're going to break this down. Emmanuel Ogbah is staying with the Miami Dolphins. Mitchell Wren's Tom Downey breaking down everything going on around 2022 NFL free agency. There were multiple rumors out there that Ogbah's going to test the open market. He's going to see how much money he can get. And right before the whole tampering period starts, he signs the dotted line. This is coming in from Adam Schefter just a few seconds ago. The Dolphins and Emmanuel Ogbah have reached an agreement on a 4-year, $65 million deal that includes $32 million and fully guaranteed at the signing. Tom, what is your quick reaction to this news right here?
I like the move for Miami. Ogbah was going to be expensive. This might be a little bit below market value, I though think, given the timing just before the start of the legal tampering period, it's probably about what he would have gotten on the open market. In the end, this comes in just below the Shaq Barrett deal.
Yep.
Barrett got last year from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So it's about the right market value, and it really helps out Miami at their edge rushing spot. That, for me, was one of their biggest needs because they had Jalen Phillips and not much else beyond Ogbah. Now you bring him in, and you're in good shape at that position. So I think it's a good move here by Miami to retain Emmanuel Ogbah.
I actually think it's not only a good move by Miami, it's a good move by Ogbah because you go back and you look at some of his other fits on past defenses. Not that it wasn't a great fit, but the past 2 years that he's been here with Josh Boyer, he's been a really good player. Over 40 tackles back-to-back years, 9 sacks in back-to-back seasons, and 12 pass breakups. Like, I can't go ahead and say enough about if you can't get to the quarterback, what do they teach you? Put your hands up. Put your hands up and bat down the ball, and that's something that Ogbah did extremely, extremely well. So let's go back to school here. Let me throw on my backpack real quick, start walking down. I want you to grade the move of Ogbah back to Miami. A, you absolutely loved it. B, it was a good move. C, it's average. D, it's bad. F, it's a fail. At $16.25 million per year, I'm going to give it a B grade. What do you think, Tom?
I'm going to give it a B myself. Maybe it's a B minus, B plus, whatever route you want to go there. It's not a steal on the market, but it's a good move.
It is a good move.
It describes it perfectly. You're not getting unreal value, but you were going to be in trouble if you didn't retain Emmanuel Ogbah. Then you would have gotten into a bidding war with other free agents, or you would have kind of pigeonholed yourself and having to reach for an edge rusher later on. Like that makes it tricky from that perspective. So I think from a perspective of adding Ogbah, or excuse me, retaining Ogbah, that's a good move by Miami. Yeah, it's expensive, but they had money to retain him on the active roster. I think that is a smart decision to go out and keep him. And it's not quite an A, but I don't want to be too nice to all these people out there. After all, edge was my number one need for this organization. This, of course, was done before the Ogbah signing. Cross off edge along that list, we can bump up receiver into that number 5 slot here.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about the Dolphins, I mean, they're still going to have to be able to compete with a quarterback like Josh Allen. You got a young quarterback also like Mac Jones from top to bottom, and his ability to be able to come in right away and wreak havoc for this defense, it's personally not what I expected, but I also think you were right. If they didn't pull off this move, they were probably going to have to go out and spend maybe even more money at edge. Yeah. And instead, now you're able to save a little bit of money, and they had plenty of money to spend. But this is a team that's arguably the third best team in this division. You got the Patriots, you got the Bills. So at $16.25 million for a player over the past 2 seasons who's come in, had 83 tackles, 18 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, 17 pass breakups. I mean, you can say what you want, but his versatility, because a lot of times in Josh Boyer's defense, they run 3-4. Sometimes they actually switch it up. They'll go to 4-2-5, or they'll go to a 4-3 set. Ogbah's athletic ability and length gives you some versatility. And if I was a player like Jalen Phillips, who definitely came on late, not that he reminds me of Ogbah, because, to be honest, Jalen Phillips is a much better athlete and player, but their length and versatility, I do think is very similar. Now, if anybody out there's a big-time Dolphins fan, we actually have a Dolphins YouTube channel that I promise you is going to keep you up to date more than any other Dolphins YouTube channel out there. The link is down there below, youtube.com/DolphinsNews. So whether you want to know about the latest going on with free agency, trades, news, rumors, we got you covered. And let's just say, hypothetically speaking, a guy like, I don't know, Emmanuel Ogbah signs a 4-year, $65 million deal with $32 million guaranteed. We're going to go ahead and we're going to break it down. So make sure you go ahead and subscribe. Now, this deal, Tom, went down just a few minutes before the tampering period, and I believe you're really going to start seeing some things start to ramp up here. And with all the news, with all the rumors going on with Miami, I don't know if they're going to do it. They might shift their focus somewhere else. They get their top 2 guys. It was Mike Gesicki, you franchise tagged him, and now you're able to go out and get Emmanuel Ogbah. Though I am curious if they decide to give Gesicki a pay raise, because there were some rumblings going on that Gesicki wants to get paid more like a wide receiver.
Yeah, good luck.
Tight end.
Jimmy Graham tried that. It didn't work out either, so I don't think that's a likely outcome there. As for Ogbah himself, from a cap hit perspective, I'd wager this probably checks in year 1, maybe $7 to $8 million.
Okay.
Maybe even as low as $6, depending on how they want to structure it. If you got $48 million in cap, that number will remain still plenty high to add help along the offensive line. We'll see if it can get maybe Teron Armstead, maybe a receiver, maybe some desperately needed offensive line help overall. I think this team's in pretty good shape. It's a matter of, hey, can we maximize Tua Tagovailoa with Mike McDaniel as the new head coach?
For sure. I think an easy way to maximize Tua is to be able to establish the running game, right? I mean, Mike McDaniel with the San Francisco 49ers, that's what they've been able to do. Good zone run blocking. Don't overpay for a running back. Let Tua hand the ball off. Let him throw it to Mike Gesicki a little bit. But you're absolutely right. When the conversation really starts on the interior line and on the outside of the line for the Dolphins, and, you see a lot of these really good players in the draft. Some of those guys are left tackles. Remember, Tua's a lefty, right? So his blind side is actually on the right side. A player that I threw out the other day on Dolphins Today, Leo Collins, and he's a really good player. Again, he's got some off-the-field stuff, and he can be a little bit of a headache at times. But if you're Miami, why not roll the dice a little bit, throw some money around? I mean, Leo Collins at $10 million to the Dolphins, I think makes some sense personally. Then you also need some interior offensive line help, maybe like a Brandon Scherf. I think Laken Tomlinson makes a lot of sense to go over to Mike McDaniel. Take pressure off of Tua, keep him upright, and you still need to go out and add some talent because they have the 29th overall pick. Remember, that's the pick from the 49ers, so they don't have too much draft capital early on. Now, remember, y'all, we are live here on Chat Sports, and if you want to stay up to date on everything going on around the NFL, free agency, if any other big-time moves end up happening, we got you covered here at Chat Sports. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you turn on those notifications. And if you haven't already joined the family yet, please go ahead and do so. If you are one of our loyal watchers, because, I don't know, maybe you like free content, who doesn't? Take that link that you see below, youtube.com/chatsportstv, and all I ask you to do is send it to a few friends. It's going to be a very eventful week, and I promise you this, y'all. We're going to be breaking down a whole bunch of stuff here all freaking week. The Miami Dolphins have gone out and they have signed running back Chase Edmonds. New head coach Mike McDaniel goes ahead and gets his guy, Mitchell Rentz, Tom Downey. We are actually live right now here on NFL Daily, breaking down everything going on around NFL free agency. The Dolphins have been pretty active. They went ahead, they got Ogbah right before free agency tampering started, and now they go out and they sign a running back, 2 years, $12.6 million deal with 6 guaranteed.
I love it.
A great deal.
I think this is a fantastic move. To put this in perspective of your contract, this is Nyheim Hines money. That's a shorter deal. We'll see if there's any void years. Probably not. This is below Melvin Gordon money. I think this is a fantastic move by the Miami Dolphins to add Chase Edmonds. I think he is about as perfect of a fit as you're searching for in what I assume is going to be the Mike McDaniel offense. I've liked Edmonds for a while. I know the fantasy community liked Edmonds for a while. You can still add another running back in the draft if you want to still too.
Yep.
Mitch, I think this is a fantastic addition by the Dolphins.
I mean, this is actually my top bang for your buck running back that I put on Dolphins today, and it's the guy that I talked about. I've always liked him, actually, since he came out of Fordham. I actually had the opportunity to watch Chase Edmonds live one time. My cousin, he used to play at Lafayette, had the opportunity to watch Fordham. They're in the same division, and I was like, holy shit, who's this Chase Edmonds guy?
When the NFL guys are at the FCS level, it's like they're playing a different sport.
Oh, dude, I mean, he was unbelievable at that level. And then you went ahead, you saw what he could do in the National Football League. Finally got a good opportunity with Arizona once David Johnson left, and now he gets to go with Miami, and realistically, he's going to be battling it out with Myles Gaskin. So what I want you guys to do right now is go ahead down in the comment section. I want you to grade the move of Edmonds to Miami. Now, usually, Tom, I'm not a fan of going out and signing players because I believe that you can go out and you can find guys in the draft, and there's some good running backs out there in the draft. However, with the Dolphins at pick 50, I don't know if somebody like Breece Hall would have been there. Isaiah Spiller's a little bit of a toss-up to me. Kenneth Walker. The reason why I'm going to go ahead and give this an A grade is because Mike McDaniel, you need a good running back, and you went out and you got yourself a good back, and you didn't break the bank. I'm going to give it an A grade. What do you think?
I'll go B+, so we don't have the exact same grade back-to-back on Dolphins moves here.
True.
But look, I'm a big fan. This makes him barely a top 10 paid back. I think he's a flawless fit for the scheme and for the offense, and only a 2-year deal, not a ton guaranteed, so you've got less than half of it guaranteed. You probably are going to keep him for both years, but this is a good move by Miami. No complaints here.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely no complaints whatsoever. Now I think what's really going to be interesting is what type of offensive lineman do Miami go out and get? Because as it stands right now, you probably need a center. You need an interior offensive lineman at guard. You need an offensive tackle. It's great to go out and get skill position players. And for the Dolphins, this one needs to work because when you go back and you look at some of their past moves, Tom, they went ahead, they brought in Matt Breida. That one didn't work.
Who would also be a great fit at this offense now.
You went ahead and you brought in Jordan Howard. That one didn't work. Last season, you brought in Malcolm Brown. That didn't work. The only running back that I'd say over the past 2 seasons that's actually worked that you went ahead and you brought in was Duke Johnson.
Who I've always liked.
I've always been a fan of Duke Johnson. I know a lot of Dolphin fans like him as well because he's the all-time leading rusher for the Hurricanes. But you still need to build that offensive line, or it doesn't matter who's the quarterback. It doesn't matter who's going to be the running back because going into free agency, going into the offseason, the Miami Dolphins have the worst offensive line in football, and this can be an old boomer thing to say, but this game is still won in the trenches. You can have a great quarterback, but if you can't block, sorry, homie, it doesn't worry or doesn't matter about anything. I should also mention that the 2022 salary cap space that you see on screen is what the Dolphins started with before the Ogbah move and before the Chase Edmonds move. So once we get a little bit more details on some of these contracts, then we can go ahead and update that
and those needs were entering today. So cross-off edge, cross-off running back, that was actually 6. So linebacker, because they only got 1 guy under contract. All of the offensive line and receiver is where they're at.
So what I want you guys to do right now is the Dolphins, they went out and they got Emmanuel Ogbah for 4 years, $65 million, $32 million guaranteed. Now you just went out and got Chase Edmonds at 2 years, $12.6, $6.1 million guaranteed. How would you grade the Dolphins' move so far? A, B, C, D, or F? I mean, I gave one grade an A. I gave the other one a B. I'm going to go somewhere between B+, A-. I like what the Dolphins are doing. They're staying aggressive here. Sounds like Tom's going the exact same route.